Anyone got a pencil? Hello, my name's Mark and I'm the host of the Mixtape podcast, where every week on the show I will ask my guests to make up an imaginary mixtape. They'll give it a title and pick 6 tracks. Track 1, what's going to be your intro track, your attention grabber, your track 1 side one that's going to draw me in and make me want to listen to the rest of your tape. Track 2, pick a song that you sing loud and proud when you're on your own in the car or the shower. Track 3, pick your favourite cover version. Track 4, pick a song you wish you could have played to your 18-year-old self. Track 5, pick a song that you would put on your mixtape to let the listener know that you are romantically interested. And track 6, I'm going to ask them to pick something a little bit obscure, maybe a B-side or an album track. Don't forget to smash that follow or plus sign at the top of the page and you'll be notified every time there's a new episode. And you can follow me on Instagram at the Mixtape Perth. Hope you enjoy this week's chat. Hello and welcome to this week's Mixtape show. And today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Mike Edwards from Jesus Jones. How are you, Mike?
I'm very good, thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show and giving me your time. Really appreciate it, mate. So you're coming down under with Pop Will Eat Itself for a few dates in February and March next year, is that right?
Yeah, that's it. We do 4 dates, finishing up in the 3rd of March. So yeah, Pop Will Eat Itself. That's a band that we've toured with at various points over the years. So yeah, it's a bunch of people we know, always have a good time with. It means it's going to be a really good fun tour.
Yeah, I was literally just going to ask you. That was going to be one of my questions. Have you toured with them before? So you covered that one off already. I've just got the dates in front of me real quickly. So I'll just rattle them off. 29th of February, the Triffid in Brisbane. 1st of March, the Manning Bar in Sydney. 2nd of March, Croxton in Melbourne. And as a lot of artists tend to do these days, saving the very best till last, the 3rd of March. Frio Social in Fremantle. It's metropolistouring.com for tickets for those. If you want to get involved, Jesus Jones and Pop Will Eat Itself. When was the last time you were down under, Mike?
Let's have a think. I think it was 2015. I think we did a very similar tour then. Yeah, that's right. It was. That was 8 years ago. Blimey, doesn't seem like it. But yeah, that's it. Absolutely loved it. Had a great time. Very tough schedule for a band. You know, you're kind of flying early, playing late, one day after another. But nonetheless, you know, absolutely brilliant time. It kind of kept you awake from just the excitement of it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you as well, Mike, like when you're on tour and you're sort of, you know, sound check to sound check and gig to gig, do you ever get a chance to get out? Do you just like to relax in the hotel room, or do you like to get out and see the sights and do a bit of sightseeing while you're in Australia, mate?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, that, because my preference would be to get out and see the sights. But a lot of the time, you know, like, certainly when that last tour we did, we're getting 3 or 4 hours sleep a night. You kind of owe it to the audience to put yourself in as good a situation as you can to do a good show. So a lot of the time I had to think, well, I'm not actually going to go out and see all the sights. I'm just going to take it easy so that I can be halfway proficient when it comes to it later on. But you always get those moments, you know, when you're kind of the end of the tour, or you might get a day off or something like that, depending where you're touring. And I would always prefer to go out and see stuff. We were in Japan recently, and you know, we all every day took some time out just to go and see what's around, to check it out and let it all sink in a bit.
Yeah. Oh, that would be an amazing place. I've never been to Japan, but I'm a big vinyl collector, so yeah, that I would probably have to save up a bit before I went there, because I'd be losing my shirt on vinyl, I reckon, while I was in Japan, for sure.
I think you were, actually, yeah. Our guitar roadie, he's exactly the same as you, and he was looking forward to so much, and God knows how he got all this stuff back in the plane. He brought so much stuff out there. So, yeah, you want to be wary about going there, I'd say.
I know, a friend of mine was there recently for business, and he messaged me while he was there, and he was like, oh, anything you want me to pick you up? And yeah, I could have rattled off, you know, 24 or more records off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I said, no, don't worry about it. And then he very kindly brought me back some vinyl-shaped drinks coasters, which was lovely of him. Yeah, so shout out, Rob. Thanks for that, mate. I appreciate it. And can people expect, Mike, setlist wise? Is it going to be like a greatest hit set you're going to be playing, or are you going to be throwing a few curveballs in?
Well, basically, it's a greatest hits thing. We have a couple of tracks to keep ourselves interested, not necessarily new stuff, but more just things from the old days that perhaps got overlooked. In all honesty, I can't tell you right now because we haven't had our usual argument about it. And it's always an argument. We always have to have a big discussion because there's one side of the band that thinks we should only do the out-and-out rockers, and that's all. And another side of the band were thinking, well, actually, that's maybe not what people want to hear most. So we have a bit of an argument, and however that argument resolves is what we'll play. But the thing is, no one's under any delusions. We know why we're there. We know what people want to hear, and yeah, of course, we'll be playing those. But there'll be things that the band themselves want to play, and it's not going to be a set. It'll never be a set that you know exactly what to expect from beginning to end. That's for sure. Yeah. The one thing I would say is that we're coming to the conclusion that after kind of like nearly 40 years or something of playing together, some of the songs we can actually play quite well now. So I think that's a big selling point. Absolutely.
And I wanted to talk to you about a bit about the Doubt album and talking about your greatest hits and particularly like sort of Right Here, Right Now. I wanted to talk to you about that track. It's when I listen to that track, obviously I'm old enough of a certain age to know, that I was around when that came out first time round, and I feel like with that track it's lyrically like it's really of its time, like in terms of what it's about and culturally significant events and stuff like that. But when you hear the song, like I think if you put that record out tomorrow, it would still do well and, do you know what I mean, resonate without I think it's timeless, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And you always hear it cropping up in adverts, and it gets used a lot in stuff like that. It must be an absolute dream song to have in your back catalogue from that point of view.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, trust me. I know what you're saying. I found it interesting that it was written about a very specific set of circumstances. It's about kind of coming out of the Cold War era, an era like in the 1980s, like in the UK, as you know, that we were kind of living with the expectation that nuclear war could break out at any moment. There were times when, the temperature went up, the temperature went down, but nonetheless, it could happen any moment, really any moment. And when that era ended and you saw the sudden collapse of that Soviet system, exemplified by the Berlin Wall coming down, it was a huge thing. And it was written about that. But I do remember being really struck kind of 10 months later by going to America and hearing some guys saying, that's all about America winning the Gulf War. And whilst there are several things to object to about that, what I found interesting about it is that people can take that chorus and they can put their own meaning on that set of words. And I think I was very, very lucky that I stumbled across something like that, something that people could do that with. Particularly lucky since I actually thought that Right Here, Right Now was a terrible title that I would get around to changing sooner or later.
I think, Fatboy Slim did all right with it. So, it's good enough for him. It's good enough for you as well, I reckon. But you mentioned America.
I'm pretty annoyed about that. I've got to say, I just want to stop this right now. I'm pretty annoyed about Fatboy Slim. I mean, that was our title. It's bad enough that Van Halen came out with an album called Right Here Now. The bloody Fatboy Slim comes out and has a hit with it. Our guitarist goes on holiday to Turkey and he gets chatting to the guys there and they talk about music and stuff. He says, I'm in them. We wrote this song called Right Here, Right Now. Next night, restaurant owner comes out and starts singing Fatboy Slim's Right Here, Right Now to him.
Oh, no.
So, we're angry. We're livid, as you can tell.
Oh, that's a great story. And talking about America as well, did it strike you as odd at the time, Mike, that it did so well in America? I think number 2, but they didn't quite get in the top 10, I don't think, in England, like where you're actually from. So did that strike you as a little bit strange at the time? Yeah,
it did. I mean, the story about Right Here, Right Now in the UK is that it got released, I was always really impressed with it. I thought, this is one of the best things I've done. Record company said, yeah, it's all right, go away, write some more. But nonetheless, they decided to release it. It got to number 30 in the UK. Mm-hmm. But some DJs who are over from America picked it up as one of the new songs that was around, took it back home, started playing it. As you said, it got into the top 5 in the US. As a result of that, the UK record company say, wow, look at this. Okay, now they really set that song alight in America. Let's re-release it. So they re-released it. It got to number 30 again. So, I don't know what to say about that. But the interesting thing now, though, is that wherever we play in the world, whatever the success of that song was compared to other songs in the past, it is now the most popular song that we play, wherever we play it. It only got to number 30, but it's received as though it got to number 2 in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is interesting, because obviously that's the American influence.
Thanks so much for sending through your mixtape choices. I really appreciate that. So let's drop into the mixtape section of the chat, Mike, if you're ready. And my show's called The Mixtape, and it's just like, making up a mixtape, but, on a radio scale instead of just passing someone a tape. So it's on a much bigger scale. Yeah. So when I make up a mixtape, I always like to go in with a banger, an attention grabber, an impact track for track 1. So what did you pick for your track 1, Mike?
Ready For by Buku.
Oh, yeah. What is it about that? I mean, I listened to it and it certainly is an attention grabber. Yeah, so tell us sort of a little bit more about that track, because I wasn't aware of it until I heard your choice.
I mean, this would be I think this would be described as a trap track by people in the know. So maybe a little bit dated, but that's just something that. It's one of those things, it doesn't matter when it's from, and I'm guessing the last kind of 3-4 years, something like that. It just rocks. It's digital AC/DC. It's just absolutely fantastic, so exciting. And that bass, my God, there is so much bass in it, and bass was always the thing that attracted me, the thing that moved me most, back in the day. In the 1980s, all those 8 kick drums, and that really is what trap is about, taking those 808 kick drums and making them enormous, just maxing them out. And I love so much bass music now that goes on. I mean, if we'd gone more involved with the mixtape, I could have given you a lot more stuff from a lot more recently, but that one, that just kicks. That's fantastic. Absolutely love it. It's got sirens in it. That's one of the great things.
I had one note about that track. Obviously, I'd never heard it before until I heard it earlier on this evening, and I mean this in the most complimentary, brilliant way possible. And this is a cultural reference that I know you'll get, Mike. It sounded like the best Commodore 64 game soundtrack I'd never heard. Do you know what I mean? It just had that.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It had that sound about it, and a vast majority of my listeners are not even going to know what a Commodore 64 is, so you're going to have to Google that. But take my word, fantastic track, brilliant choice for an attention grabber, Mike. And for track 2, I asked you to pick a song that you sing when you're on your own, loud or proud, in the car or the shower. A little bit of a change of pace for this one, and you went with "Washing of the Water" by Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, I mean, there's no word of lie with that. I mean, I sing that every single day. I sing every day just because at this point, I need to keep these vocal cords going, and it really helps with the shows. I absolutely love the song anyway. In my kind of my playlist that I sing every day, it's got to be things that I love, but things that I just feel good singing, that make me feel happy when I sing. And it's quite a workout. I mean, it starts in 1 octave, and at the end you're kind of, I think, 2 octaves higher. Yeah. So it's a hell of a piece of work for a singer, but it's a lovely song in all ways. It's a lovely tune. It's got that fabulous kind of Sam Cooke middle section, and Peter Gabriel's voice is always just fabulous anyway. Yeah. So nice. I actually find that as I get older, my voice suits that kind of singing style anyway. And a lovely set of words too, really, really moving. So, it's something that gives me pleasure to sing. It's a great vocal workout and just a lovely song.
I think I've got a little bit of a list running in my head of like artists who appear most on the mixtape, and even sometimes the same songs have appeared more than once on the mixtape. But I don't think if I had $1 for every time a Daniel Lanois produced a song was on the mixtape, I would be a rich man. The amount of times his name came up, and obviously he's a producer on that record. I'd say probably every third mixtape that I do, he's connected to it in some way, shape or form. Yeah, but like you say, amazing performance and the song that and a bit of a curveball for me. Change up a pace from I wasn't expecting that after your first choice. I'm not going to lie. But yeah. So track 3 for your mixtape, Mike, and I asked you to pick a cover version, and I absolutely love this track. So yeah, what did you pick?
Yeah, do you know, I really racked my brain over this, and for a while I was going to go for the Jesus Jones cover of The Stranglers' Go Buddy Go.
Right.
I was also going to pick, and this is a little self-indulgent, I also thought maybe Diesel Park West cover of Info Frico, our song, because I found it interesting. Like, people can praise you or criticize you, but when someone actually recreates what you've done, it makes you view your own work in a way that you could not have done otherwise. But ultimately, I went with something that just blows me away every time I hear it. One of my criteria for this is I often find that a cover version of the song is not as good as the original. And this is completely the other way around. I don't much like Darling Be Home Soon by the Loving Spoonful. I don't kind of hear it as it doesn't really move me. But Slade's version of Slade Alive Volume 1, the way they've reinterpreted it is fantastic in a number of ways. The slow build of it, all the way through the song. They've taken the song, they've really slowed the tempo down, they've made it much mellower, much calmer, until the guitar solo kicks in, and it's Dave Hill from Slade, got a really interesting style, all his own. It's quite interesting as well in that it's clearly an overdub, because you can hear some of the guitar he played when they played it live. I don't know, Wolverhampton Civic Hall or where it was, and somewhere it's been overdubbed. But nonetheless, his guitar playing is just so interesting. I really like it. Below that, you've got Jimmy Lee's bass playing, and he does some runs in there, because he was like the chief songwriter, Jimmy Lee. Obviously, just an amazing musician. I'm getting a bit muso about this, but anyway, so that all fires off, and it's exciting and great, and then they calm it right down, and then it builds up, and when, towards the end, Noddy Holder does the Noddy Holder thing, you hear one of the greatest voices in rock just on fire. The way he hits that last chorus, it makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up every single time. That voice is just, it's been a gift to anyone of our generation to have experienced that. An amazing piece of singing on a song, like I said, that I would have found otherwise fairly ordinary.
Yeah, I think Slade are one of them bands, I think they get, obviously, you know, everybody knows, you know, their hits. And I remember seeing an interview with Noel Gallagher donkeys years ago where he was talking about Slade exactly in the same way that you were there, like the musicianship and the vocals and the songwriting. You know, it's some of the you know, greatest songs that Noel Gallagher had ever heard were Slade songs, and they get a bit of a bad rap, I think, for not a bad rap, but they get, you know, Come On Feel the Noise and, you know, Mama We're All Crazy Now and those sort of glam rock sort of, you know, and obviously Merry Christmas Everybody. They get put in that sort of, not, I don't even want to say comedy, but a little bit tongue-in-cheek sort of glam rock bucket. But there's such a massive wealth of amazing songwriting and playing and, like you say, vocals in the Slade back catalogue. Yeah, it's massively underrated band, I think, for me, for sure.
I agree with that, and actually kind of to tie the point to tie in this conversation with you and I now is that I was well disposed towards hearing that song because I went to go and see AC/DC at Castle Donington in 1980, I think it was, and Slade were on the bill. And obviously in 1980, Slade are well past their heyday.
Yeah.
They definitely, you know, the impression you had going in there, this is kind of yesterday's men. And they were brilliant. Yeah. They were such a great live band. You know, I think everybody came out to that thinking, wow, Slade were really good. And you could see that They knew their stuff. They'd always been good. They just fallen foul of fashion.
Yeah.
I think there's so many bands like that. And the way I said it ties in, I'd like to think that we try and embody that same kind of thing. We may not be fashionable at our peak these days, but we're probably a better live band than we've ever been before. And in a way, I'd like to kind of credit Slade to some extent to showing that it is possible to do that, to actually be much better way after your prime than you were in your heyday.
Yeah, absolutely. We're a little bit short on time, Mike, so I'm going to skip to track 5 as the last track on your mixtape, because I'm really intrigued by this one. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, and it's a presenter's nightmare to read the title, but I'm gonna go for it anyway. So track 5 is a song you would put on your mixtape to let the listener know that you're romantically interested. And you've picked a song called Bektub Ishmak Ya Habibi by Farouz. Have I said that right?
Your Arabic is really quite impressive. Very good.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it either. And this is one of the things I find about this kind of music. I've got so much to say about this. It's a shame we haven't got another 2 hours.
Yeah.
This kind of music, I understand very little of it, the odd word, but the emotion in it just comes firing through. And that's why I picked it, because I actually kind of flipped this. I saw the question, to let someone know that I'm emotionally involved. But that's not what I do. However, if someone wanted to let me know they were emotionally involved, playing me that would just get rid of any defences that I had. Because I think, especially this music in general, that kind of minor scale stuff, it always sounds incredibly dramatic and melancholic, and like the earth is coming into an end. But Fairuz in particular, she's got this glass-like voice that is just unbelievable. No wonder she's been a star for decades and decades and decades. She's just one of the most amazing singers that you'll hear anywhere in any genre, I think.
Are you familiar with a singer called Tamino?
No, I'm not.
Because he's got, I just wrote it down quickly, and the way you've described the song there, So he's got, his breakout single was called Habibi, and he's a Belgian/Egyptian singer-songwriter. He's got 2 albums out. Habibi by Tamino, honestly, Mike, you will absolutely love it. He's very much vocally in the Jeff Buckley sort of style, but he's got that like that, when you said that dramatic air to the song, that's exactly what he's like. And Habibi, I think it's if you imagine Jeff Buckley did a Bond theme, that's what it would sound like. It's incredible.
I will check that out.
I'll shoot you on a land. I know you. I can't shoot you a text, but yeah, it's Tamino, Tamino, and the song's called Habibi. Yeah. That was his sort of breakout first single. But yeah, you'll absolutely love that. And now we've talked about that, that gives me yet another excuse to play that on the radio show, which I will do right after we've hung up this chat. Mike, I'm a little bit over time, so I'm going to let you go there, mate. Thanks so much for coming on and chatting. Can't wait to see you at Frio Social in March. It's going to be a cracking gig. Yeah, and safe travels down under, mate. And yeah, I'll speak to you then.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Mike. Have a good one, mate. See you later. That was a Mixtape podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to jump up to the top of the page and smash that follow button, and you'll be notified every time there's a new episode. Or follow me on Instagram at the Mixtape Perf. Till the next time.